Welcome everyone to the August 2025 CentOS board meeting. We have Mike. So we only have one missing board member who is out sick.
Are we recording? Oh, now I see.
I
Sorry, I wasn't seeing that. I wasn't seeing the thing for some reason.
I always do the intro after we start now.
All good.
Previous minutes are here if anyone wants to look at it. Sean, I gave you the first item.
Sure. So we just ran our elections. I want to say I was very happy. We don't publicly state our candidates, but I was really happy with the slate. I think we had a nice slate this year. I think the elections ran well, and board members all responded pretty quickly. So the results of the elections are in, and our newest board member is David Duncan. So welcome to the board, David. You want to say words or?
I'm super excited to be here. I mean, you know, this has been a passion of mine for decades now. So I'm just super happy to be a part of it and to help out where I can.
And we'll do a blog post introducing that. I think it's good blog material. So besides that, though, I think we're on the way. Like David's in Matrix, and is he on the mailing list yet?
No.
We'll take care of that.
We'll get that. I haven't gone in there to get out all the spam lately, so I'll do that at the same time. David, you momentarily had your hand up.
Sorry, I don't know what I did. Also, we need to add into the fast group, I think.
Oh, okay. I can do that. I think I'm an admin on that one.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that, David. All right, the next item, Tomas was our official secretary. It's not a hard position. It's taking notes during the meeting and also sending out the invite and adding anyone who needs to be added to the invite. Is anyone interested in taking that position at this time?
Gemini.
I'm already taking notes.
So would you like to be the official secretary?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right. That's another place we'll need to add you as the HackMD.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Next item is the GitLab move. I just really wanted to add this in here. The board has moved. Most of the other groups have moved. Davida, do you have any extra information that needs to be here? Otherwise, this will probably be the last time we mention this topic.
I don't know if we had I know Fabian posted a bunch of things to the develop list. I don't know if we formally closed this out, but if you look on GitLab now, there's a GitLab CentOS archives section, and that should be a copy of all the old GitLab CentOS content that Fabian was moving over. So, and I believe for the stuff that we thought was still in use and useful, that has been moved to is like permanent homes where appropriate under SIG or under some other group. And for the stuff we had no idea what it was or it looked clearly dead, it's just in archives and it's just going to sit there as an archived repo for posterity. And if somebody needs it, it can be moved or unarchived or forked or whatever, but otherwise it just stays there and it's available. Same goes for all of the old dist-git repos that were on git.centos.org that haven't been touched in a long time.
All righty. Anyone else have anything on this? All right. Last meeting, I had brought up the need going forward for an AI policy. And Jack had mentioned that, hey, Fedora had just started that as well. So I have included the link to their discussion on that. I think what we were talking was a little different from the angle they're talking about, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. We were talking more about accepting contributions that were assisted by or generated by AI. And I'm going to bring up their link just so I'm sure of where they're at. A lot of theirs was AI being used. And it being used as a platform for AI development and their data being used for AI, which are two different things than personally I have been involved in, and it's a different angle. So we were, therefore, they had use of AI tools to make project contributions, which is what we were discussing. AI tools being used by Fedora users, which kind of is number one as far as I'm concerned. Fedora being used as a platform for AI development, we had not gone on that angle, and Fedora data being used for AI development, and we did not go on that angle either. Go ahead, Troy.
As far as using CentOS, I'll replace Fedora with CentOS as a development platform. I don't think we, at least as a board, have any say in that. A person can use CentOS for, as far as I know, whatever they want, as long as they don't do something like against the import rules of the various things. So that one, to me, I would just sort of toss out, because as far as I know, we can do that.
Only if we were promoting it or posting the code after it was done. You know, if they wanted it in one of our repos, then the first rule would apply, in that it's code that and I don't see that as a problem anyway. The person who, I mean, somebody's going to do a commit. There's going to be a physical person doing the commit, and they're going to be responsible, in my mind, for whatever code it is that's going in there. They've validated that, and they're responsible saying that they have done that. So I don't know that it's a problem per se anyway.
Like they're taking responsibility.
Okay. Sean, do you still have your hand up?
Nope, I like what Johnny said.
Okay. Davida?
I think I mentioned this the last time we talked about it, but the main concern that I see here that we have to be careful is ensuring that whatever is contributed is acceptable from a copyright standpoint, so that we know that what the provenance is and the provenance of what it has been derived from is acceptable for the license of the project and from a legal standpoint, especially for the content that ends up flowing downwards into RHEL. And this is a very fraught topic of conversation right now related to AI, and I am neither a legal expert or an AI expert, but it is something we probably need to get some actual legal opinion on what is acceptable and what isn't there.
Hang on, typing. I said accessible before, and it was supposed to be acceptable. Yeah, so I agree with everything that's been said. Like Troy, we don't, as long as they follow the rules of exportation, we don't limit what anyone uses CentOS for. So I don't think we need their number 3 or 4. I agree with Johnny about the person doing the commit being responsible for the code. And one of the reasons why people use the assisted by or generated by tags, Davida, is to say where it came from. And we can definitely come together with legal for a list of AI sources that are allowable. So for instance, it could be Claude, it could be Gemini, it could be Llama Rama, but we might also at the same time say, and I'm not going to name anybody because I'm not up on all the AIs, and I don't want to offend anybody, but we may say that because we cannot prove that stuff from XYZ AI follows open source licensing, that we can't use that. Is everyone in agreement of that very vague description of what we would do to balance what we allow in and what we don't allow in? Okay, Sean, go.
Yes, but does that put us into a position where we need to have a continuing workload of evaluating new tools ongoing? And is that something that people in this group want to take on?
I think others are doing that work, and we could just go off of the work of others.
That's beautiful.
I would need to find out more information on that, but I believe that is the case. Go ahead, Mike, while I'm typing.
Right, none of this is unique to us, but I wonder if we focus our rules on not allowing commits based on contributor self-reporting how they got the content, that if we're essentially discouraging that sort of self-reporting. Because like right now, like let's take AI out of the situation. A contributor could totally plagiarize a fix and submit it, and we'd never know the difference until
Correct.
somebody points it out later. So I don't know. I just don't. I don't know what the answer is here. I don't want to go so far that we discourage people being honest. You know what I mean?
No, but I think we would run into this. I mean, assisted by Claude. I mean, we're doing this in OpenStack right now. But what I'm saying is, if they're using a source that license isn't good for. What? Oh. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's just you, Mike. So if we know that one of the LLMs isn't open source compatible, and that's going to negate our code because the licenses aren't going to work. So, I mean, it is a little more work on the merge to go, oh, okay, this was assisted by Claude. They are good for open source. We're happy. Or I have a concern about this, and making a comment and asking the person just to verify that everything's open source. Okay, I've got Johnny first and then Davida.
Yeah, so I again, what Mike said is true. People can, it's a text file, right? So if they don't self-report that it's assisted by, then the only way to know that is to put in place some kind of search software. And I don't know that we necessarily want to do that, but that would be the only possibility would be if some company, somebody created some kind of search capability that looked for things that were not being used properly, would be the only way that we would have a mechanism other than making sure that the code works, right?
But I think, Johnny, that goes back to your earlier comment before we go to Davida, of a person doing the commit would be responsible for the code. So they would be responsible, and if we find out something is really bad, we're going to pull it.
So we need to validate who that person is, and I don't have a problem with putting in place some kind of.
Do we have a DCO? Do we use DCO on signing?
Not right now.
Okay.
But if we did come up with some kind of mechanism to authenticate who people are, that might be a good policy, so that we don't get what happened to AUR happening to us, the Arch community group, got a bunch of malware into their distributable packages. So
Okay. So this is definitely something we need to think on further. The how to do stuff. We're right now thinking of the why and what. David, do you want to go?
Sure. So I don't think we necessarily want to be in the business of policing and trying to infer content besides doing like what we would do normally as part of code review when somebody contributes something. So I don't think we need to put in place like a plagiarism detector like people use for college term papers. Like at the end of the day, like I think operating on the assumption that everybody here is an adult and like is contributing, and then if the contribution is obviously either malicious or nonsense or whatever, we can deal with that via the policies we already have. I do think DCO is an interesting idea and it's something we may want to consider as a lightweight approach and something that is trivial to implement because it is like literally a one-click setting in GitLab or wherever to turn it on, and then doing some comms and docs updates to explain to people what it is and why. One caveat with DCO is that if we do that, we also need to get the RHEL folks on board because this would impact every single commit to every single repo in stream, not just the stuff under CentOS. So that's something that we need to get the folks that manage the Red.org on GitLab on board as well. If we want to do that, we don't have to, but it is something we may want to consider. I see try.
So let me ask this question. Could we turn it on just on the SIGs?
We could for sure if we wanted to. Although no, actually no, we could not.
Okay.
Because a lot of SIG content is straight merges from either Fedora content or actually this is non-trivial in either case because a lot of CentOS content comes from Fedora, so we need to sort this out in Fedora first. Okay, this is a giant can of worms, so maybe that might require further thinking if we actually want to pursue it.
Okay, I'll have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
But Troy?
Sorry, I wanted to explain the face I made. It wasn't necessarily about DCL. It was other things, including conflicts coming up that I was going, oh yes, yet another thing to add. But
that's totally fair.
Yep. I'll be quiet then.
All right, someone who knows commits and fasts better, do you have to log in with your FAST account in order to do a commit? Would that be a way of verifying the person?
I don't think so because you can see the
request.
repo with any account. You can fork the repo and you can make an MR. I don't think you need a FAST account to make an MR, do you? I don't know
I know
offhand,
you
but I
don't
don't
do
think
the
so.
web stuff, which is what I mainly contribute to, the docs.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I don't think you need a FAST account to send an MR on GitLab. You definitely need a FAST account to be in like permission groups and stuff, but just to send an MR that then somebody else merges, I don't think you need a FAST account.
Okay. All right. And this is not something I expect us to do very quickly writing this, but these are some really good points.
This might be a good Freckle conversation, to be honest, because if we decide we want to do something, whether it's DCO or like something in this direction, that's definitely a much wider group kind of conversation. So this would be a good topic for Freckle.
Yeah, and also on both sides, because I've always said my vision is there's a more technical side of Freckle and then a more governance decision-making side of Freckle. And to be honest, this would affect both sides.
Yep.
Because how to do it technically and the argument of whether we should be doing it and how we should be doing it. Well, not how we should be doing it, but how we should address it would be the more governance decision-making side of things.
Yep, for sure.
But I think this is a really good set of comments to move forward with. Does anyone else have anything at this time they want to say for this? All right, and that was a good discussion, y'all. And the more we have this discussion and get everyone's viewpoints, we'll get this governance written. Pat, you've been kind of quiet, and you're usually my word person.
Honestly, this is such a complicated topic that I don't know how to phrase my opinions on it.
Okay, I'll take that. And also what we can do is put together some URL links to like Open Infra's AI policy and other AI policies that are out there as we get closer to deciding what we want to do, and we can base things off of what others are doing. Like I said, we don't want to keep the list of acceptable and non-open source sources, but if we can find it from somebody else, then we can just keep an eye on theirs. All right, then let us move down to Sean and the community architect updates.
Wow, already. Okay, I said I didn't have anything, and yet here I wrote 5 bullet points. So actually coming right out of it, Amy and I are going to go to DevConf US in Boston next month. We had talked before about trying to set up a Freckle thing. There's no critical mass for that, but we are trying to meet with some RHEL people, got some meetings lined up. So if there are topics that you would like us to have conversations with people about, then let us know. And actually on the AI point, one of my things is to try to talk to some of the people spearheading AI stuff in RHEL land at DevConf. So yeah, Davide.
It'd be good to get an update on the secure boot stuff.
That would be great.
Specifically around now that we solved the CentOS Stream one, it would be good to get an update on the story for SIGs, because that is still outstanding and is still a blocker, especially for hyperscale.
Troy, do you know who I should talk to about that, and if any of them are in Boston or will be?
I heard Brian Stinson.
Yeah, but
was
I'm
gonna be involved in that. Okay.
He would be a good person to talk to, of course.
Let me look that up, and I'll probably have it by the end of this meeting.
Yeah, so I remember when I was in Brussels, I talked to Fabian, and he had like an idea for how this could be done, but this was before we had progress on secure boot for actual CentOS. So it'd be I don't know if that still aligns with what folks want to do, but either way, it'd be good to get at least an update and an idea of where things are going there.
For sure. All right.
And while it's not under Karen, it's under Steph. Karen will be there, so we should get together with her anyways.
I've added that to my.
And she'll be at DevConf, so we don't even have to go to the office to talk to her.
Yeah, although I do want to email her and set something up to make sure. But okay, I've added secure boot to my list, my notes.
Sean, real quick, did we ever hear back about a booth for DevConf?
No, I will check into that.
Okay.
Okay. Speaking of booths, wow, we just keep like piggybacking here. All Things Open is in October as usual. I will not be attending, and neither will Justin, because we both have a internal face-to-face meeting that conflicts with it. We have done a shared Fedora and CentOS booth at ATO in the past. It's pretty high value. It turns out pretty well whenever we do it, but obviously neither of us can staff it. So if there is a critical mass of people to staff one, it sounds like we've had conversations with the ATO organizers. Sounds like they have room for some community booths, and they can give us space. Jeff Spalletta, the new FPL, is going to be at ATO, and he is happy to do some booth time, but I'm not going to do a booth that just makes him sit alone behind a booth for the entire event. So if there are people attending, it doesn't have to be in this group, maybe you know people that would be willing to put in some booth time, let me know. If we've got enough people, then I'll set it up and ship a tablecloth and banner and whatever. Otherwise, I guess we'll just skip it. There is a Red Hat booth, so we can get, Fedora and CentOS stickers and stuff at a booth at least. So, there was brought up to me that we should be on, we should maybe add CentOS to LFX Insights. I talked to David about this earlier in the stream hangout. I didn't see any other major distros on there. I kind of did a search, but it's a Linux Foundation project that gives some insights, metrics, and stuff on various projects, and whether or not we use it for our own personal use. It does seem that other organizations use it to evaluate projects, and so it might be valuable to be on it. But I don't have a lot of experience, and I'd have to sit down and figure it out. So if anyone has experience with it, I'd welcome that. Davida.
I did find NixOS for what it's worth.
Okay.
They do there. It's a monorepo though, so but it looks like they do support situations where there are multiple repos under an org. But this may be the kind of thing where, like, if you have a contact in LF, maybe you ask them, hey, what do you think is the best way to do this out of band? And then once we get some feedback, we do a formal application of sorts. Because my hunch is that we want, as we were discussing in the meeting earlier, my hunch is that we want to put Stream as its own thing because it's under the Red Hat org, and then put CentOS as a separate one because that's under a separate org. But I don't know, maybe they feel it should all be under the same umbrella. Like, either approaches will be acceptable.
I want to say, and I'm looking at the list of Foundation projects, I think you might have to be a Linux Foundation project to be in Insights. Now, I know Kata is showing up here, but Open Infra is now under Linux Foundation, and that could explain why.
I know Universal Blue applied. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're not.
There's also like Systemd in there, which is not an LF project.
Okay. All right, because I know at one point there was basically a Stackalytics version for Linux Foundation, and it was only Linux Foundation projects.
I will look into it more.
Also, you'll be happy to know they support Garrett, Amy. I just noticed.
I wonder if that's because of OpenStack. But OpenStack isn't listed here, and it should be. So maybe it's not quite.
Get on that, Amy.
I know, right? I'll talk to my peeps. Because I'm looking in Kata is now through Open Infra's move. I saw Ceph in the bigger list. Well, they're underneath there, so I'm not sure, to be honest with you, if this is just Linux Foundation projects or not. And that apply now could be a get into Linux Foundation type things. Project onboardings. Well, Rocky's under project onboarding.
So they're already looking at trying to get in. All right.
Yeah, so maybe you can just without being underneath them. I think the project onboarding is actually more helpful than looking at the real list. Firefox, we know, is not under Linux Foundation. They're here as well.
Okay, we'll look into it. The only other things, the CentOS Showcase videos are available, and there's been some social media posts and a few more scheduled to promote those. So, you can repost or whatever. And I'm not sure where we were last month with Connect. I'm not sure what I've told you, frankly. But we've already had conversations with the DoubleTree. We are going through our third-party contract company that we use in Red Hat to get a contract and stuff. But we are looking at going back to the DoubleTree on January 29th and 30th. which is the Thursday and Friday before what we presume will be the FOSDEM dates. FOSDEM hasn't announced yet, but I've looked at the ULB schedule. I've looked at the previous FOSDEM dates. I've looked at Config Management Camp already has their dates set, and they are like the biggest Fringe event. I am pretty confident in those dates. So we're looking at the January 29th, 30th at the DoubleTree, and we're actually looking at going down to the main ballroom on the ground floor this time, which I think will be pretty cool. If anybody has any requests or things they want different or whatever, then let me know. But we'll just proceed as normal. And I think that's it.
All right. Does anyone else have anything for Sean? Any other business? All right, then I am going to turn off the recording.